Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 26 of our Becoming a Millionaire podcast with Blessing. This is the podcast where I share my personal development journey with you. My aim in sharing my personal development journey is to encourage you to also get on a personal development journey. So, if there is a book you are reading or a course you have done that you would recommend, please let me know so that I can also follow your journey. If you've been following, you will know that we are reviewing a book called We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. Today, I am looking at chapter 1, which is all about the $1 million story. And in this chapter, Rachel goes through her background and she talks about thoughts that she calls broadcast thoughts. Rachel says that a broadcast thought is thoughts that basically make you feel broke and thoughts that do not empower you. So, in the book, in the chapter, Rachel gives a breakdown of different broadcast thoughts, and then she gives you the opposite, which she calls a $1 million thought. So, if, for example, you are currently filled with a broadcast thought that you will never get out of debt, she says you can replace it with a $1 million thought, which is that you're capable of changing your situation. If you think, for example, that the world is unfair, so you're not going to even bother trying, you can replace it with a $1 million thought, which is that yes, the world may be unfair, and I'm going to be a millionaire to make the world a better place. Okay, so you can always replace a negative broadcast thought with a positive thought. If, for example, you think, oh, making money is so hard, you can replace with a $1 million thought, and you can say, there are an infinite number of ways to make money. I can find something that feels good to me. It may be challenging, but also fun and worthwhile. Okay. If you think that making money is too risky, you can replace it with the $1 million thought that yes, I may be scrappy, but I will always land on my feet. Okay. If you think that money changes people, and that's a broadcast thought, you could think a $1 million thought, which is that, yeah, money absolutely changes your life. Now, with money, you can have a house, you can have a car, you can have all your needs met without ever having to worry about bills. Holla! I love her. Um, and then another broadcast thought might be, if I get rich, people would only want me for my money. There are some people who say they don't want to get rich because if they get rich, people will just be hounding them down. So you can replace that with a $1 million thought, which is that I can find dope friends who celebrate my success at every income level. Okay, so you don't have to stay with friends at that level. You can basically find people at your new level. Okay. And then she said, another broadcast thought might be making more money is going to make my life more complicated. In other words, more money, more problems. She says we should replace that with a $1 million thought, which is that money doesn't solve every problem, but it can solve a lot of them. So let it be easy. All right. I mean, it goes on and on about different broadcast thoughts and how you can replace it with a $1 million thought. So, really, my question to you is what is a broadcast thought that perhaps you've been brought up thinking? And then, how can you frame and change your mindset to think of a $1 million thought? One of the things I love about her book is that there is a chapter summary at the end of every chapter. So at the end of chapter 1, she says that your childhood experiences have caused you to tell yourself stories about money that aren't true. So she basically wants you and I to know that all of us were brought up, in fact, most of us were brought up with stories that are just not true, stories about money that are not true. So she says you can overcome these childhood stories by analyzing these thoughts, figuring out where they came from, and then replacing them with effective $1 million thoughts. So every childhood thought that you've had about money, she says you can actually replace them with $1 million thoughts. She goes on to say that when you change the stories you are telling yourself about money, you will make financial decisions that serve you well. Okay, and you will feel more confident while you do it. So you and I need to basically tell ourselves better stories. She says, you have already overcome quite a bit in your life. And I know for me, definitely, and I'm sure for you who's listening to this, you've overcome a lot. So she says, this serves as evidence that you have an unstoppable spirit that has the ability to become a millionaire and accomplish any other goal you set your mind to as well. And so I'm going to leave it here with chapter 1. Based on what she said at the end, that the fact that you've overcome a lot of things means that you have the ability to become a millionaire. I think is so true. One of the books that we've read at the Christian Millionaire Book Club is by a guy called Brian Tracy. He's a personal development success coach. And Brian Tracy says, if you can drive a car, if you know how to operate a machinery, if you have learned a skill, then becoming a millionaire is a skill that you can also learn. So I'm going to leave that thought with you. What skills have you accomplished in your life? What skills have you mastered? If you could take time and master those skills, then you can also master the skills of becoming a millionaire. And in this book, Rachel Rodgers wants to show you how. The link for the book is in the description. So please click on the description. And if you haven't got this book, get the book. Let's review it together. And if there's a book you are reading or a course you have done that you want to recommend, please put it in the description, put it in the chat so that I can also get your book and we can review together. Thank you so much for joining. Take care and God bless and good night. God bless. Bye-bye.